That's really inspirational, man. Because I'm obviously looking through your history. I know, also known about you and the work you've done for years now. And I've known about the artists that you've worked with, like you mentioned, about Maverick Stable to Ed Sheeran, also people like Akala as well, which obviously who I'm a huge admirer of. I actually wanted to ask you as well, kind of who have been. I know this might be seen like an obvious question now, but who have been some of your favorite artists that you've worked through over the years?
Good question. I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to say. On the one hand, you have your artists who are like high profile and people know of,
Yeah.
and then on the other end, there's the people who no one will ever hear of, and some of those are the most kind of wholesome, resonating moments. But of the kind of higher profile artists that people will know, I mean, having Kate Tempest perform at the Rumshack once in 2015, I think, and once in 2016. The first time she played was incredible. This was like about a couple of years before she kind of crossed over big time, and those sets were really formative. You know, basically we took a risk. So I run a venue called the Rumshack at Glastonbury Festival, and that venue was originally just meant to be a bar with a stage, and then let's see what happens. But obviously, I took it like both hands and ran with it. And so, you know, we booked artists that far kind of exceeded what would be expected on that stage anyway. Every Thursday, so it normally runs from, well, now Wednesday till Sunday on Glastonbury weekend. Well, back then, I wanted Lyrics Organics to take over the Thursday. So Thursday night was going to be the Lyrics Organics show. And I think in 2015 or 14, we put Kate Tempest on at 7:00. So that was when the gates opened. It was the first show of the first field that was opening up at Glastonbury. So all the people who came to the festival early were queuing up basically. And we booked Kate Tempest before she was known beyond the spoken word and rap community. But by the time Rumshack came along that year, it was Ramo, and there was people queuing all the way down the rail track to go see Kate Tempest. And then when they were chanting her name, and then when it opened the gates, people just ran to the Rumshack, and they stayed there for 3 hours, and it was an absolute vibe. But then, you know, also Akala was, you know, is clearly a legend. We've worked with him for a number of years since he was doing stuff with Hip Hop Shakespeare Company. Having Loki on the stage at the Royal Albert Hall last year was amazing. I mean, the Ed Sheeran one's a funny one, you know, because like obviously it catches a lot of people's attentions. But you know, we'd known him since he was a little youth, since he was like 15 years old and moved to London. So to say any one of them was our favourite gigs would be kind of seems strange to me. But it, you know, there were some crazy gigs we did with him. Like,
I can imagine.
So yeah, there's so many. I could literally roll it off.
I can imagine.